we've got a 1/2 inch grid on the image, and we've got a 1 inch grid on the paper. And each square, I'm trying to get exactly the shapes and the values into that square. I'm going to finish shading it in completely before I move on to my next square. So I'm going to start with B1. So that's this square here. And what I have is a neat tool that has a little opening in it. It's exactly a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. And I can place that over my picture in the B1, and that way I can be very focused on just drawing what's in this space. So this is B1, this is my square that I'm going to be drawing in. And one of the tricks you can use is if you kind of eyeball the center of each one of these edges of your tiny square, eyeball the center points of your square you're drawing into, now you can have a little bit of a reference point, seeing the relationships between the images in this photograph and how they're going to translate onto the larger square on my paper. So the first thing I'm going to see is that I have got this kind of really distinctive dark line going right across that square. I notice it starts just below the center point. So over here I can come and say, okay, here's my center point. I'm going to draw that line just below it. And it goes all the way across my paper. Now I can see, hey, I've got another vertical line that goes along the left edge of my paper. And so I'm going to draw that in right about here. And the neat thing I can do now is I can actually start to compare this white space, which is my negative space, and see, hey, is that the same shape that I have on my drawing? And if it is, I'm good to go. If it looks a little off, I can adjust it. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually shade in the values that I see. So this is white. So I'm going to leave this part here completely blank. I've got this dark shape, so I can draw a second line for the bottom of what probably is some sort of railing. And I actually notice I have a little tiny gray section right in here, so I'm going to shade that in. It looks like maybe it was a little tree, so I can shade that in, kind of adjust things. And when I move on to my next square, I just shift my little opening here, and I can start to continue to draw. So I know that this continues into my next square, so I can pull it out and then continue to draw into my next square.